Alrighty then. Well, it is, what day is it now? It's Monday, March the 24th in the year of our Lord 2025, and it is 7:49 p.m. It's getting dark out. It's nearly completely dark out. I don't know what you can see out there. The field is all covered in snow again. More snow has fallen. It all melted, but then it came back. It'll melt again though. Rocky is having a sleep on his fish. There we go. There he is. See, he uses his fish as a pillow. It's pretty cute. He's a sweetheart. Anyway, here is the long-awaited report on the Buy Me a Coffee Fund. I've been putting it off, honestly, just because I'm really bad with math and I don't like numbers very much. But still, I promised you, and I'm going to deliver on what I promised. And I said when this thing started that I'd be accountable. So I'm going to be as accountable as I can be, bearing in mind that I'm not an accountant. I'm accountable, but I'm not an accountant. So I'm not an accountable accountant. I'm just accountable. Anyway, I'll do my best here. There's going to be some numbers that I just can't give you because I honestly don't know and I don't know how to figure it out. And I'm sorry about that. I wish I could be more precise, but I'm going to be as precise as I can be with these numbers. So just bear with me and I will tell you all about it. This is what's going on with the Buy Me a Coffee Fund. Okay, so far, there have been 14 individuals who have contributed to the Buy Me a Coffee Fund. So thank you all very much, the 14 people who did that. The current balance in the account is 0. I received a payout last Friday of $387.11 from the fund, and that emptied the fund. So right now the balance is at 0. I've had 4 payouts so far on the fund. Now these are in Canadian funds, not U.S. funds. Just to be clear, like the Canadian dollar is worth considerably less than the U.S. dollar, and the coffee fund actually tends to do things in U.S. dollars. But then when it's transferred to my bank, it ends up being in Canadian funds because, of course, I'm in Canada and I'm dealing with a Canadian bank. And they're paying me in Canadian currency. All right. I've received 4 individual payments since the coffee fund started in February. The first payment was $1,084.65. That's Canadian funds. These are all Canadian funds, as I said earlier. The next payment was $693.39. The next payment after that was $160.92. And the final payment was $387.11. That was last week's payment. That gives us a total of $2,326.07 Canadian funds that have been paid out to me so far with the Buy Me a Coffee Fund. Now, some of the things that I bought with that money or paid for with that money are as follows. And again, these are Canadian funds because I'm in Canada. I paid H&R Block, the tax service, $610.15, and that was to do 4 years of back tax returns that I hadn't done. And so they were paid $610.15. That came from the Buy Me a Coffee Fund. I actually have $6,700 in refunds coming to me because of that. Okay, now I have my truck repair. The money I spent this week on the truck repair came from the Buy Me a Coffee account from those funds. And that came out to $906.46. Now, other than that, and again, I can't give you numbers because I don't know the numbers right now. Other than that, I bought my hat, which I'm wearing now. That cost, I believe, $75, somewhere in that range. It was 70-something anyway. My hat was. I also bought an oscillating saw, which I actually do use quite a bit in my work. and that's why I bought it. And also for when I renovate the camper, the oscillating saw is going to come in handy. I had one before, but it was a rechargeable battery one, had like a lithium battery in it, and it didn't last. This one that I bought plugs into the 120 volt current, which I can now, of course, use because I have a power box and a generator. So I can now actually use things like that, and I'm hoping it'll last longer. It's a lot heavier. I did notice that. It seems to be a lot more solidly built. Anyway, the oscillating saw also came from the Buy Me a Coffee fund. I can't remember exactly what I paid for that now. I bought a tree trimming tool, like a pruning tool, basically, which again I use in my work. I believe I paid $24 for that. Something like that anyway. It was on sale. It was normally in 40 some odd dollars, but it was in the going out of business sale at PV Mart, so it was marked down. So I bought one of those. I bought a good pair of rubber boots that are also chainsaw resistant and so on, and I bought those for my work again. Last year I was going around on wet properties in the springtime, waterlogged properties with just a pair of regular boots on, and and my feet were soaked all the time, and it was pretty miserable, and my boots actually rotted. So I got a good pair of rubber boots now anyway that I bought. And again, I bought those at the going out of business sale at PV Mart. And I believe I paid $69 for those, but I wouldn't want to. I'm not making an absolute statement that that's what I paid because I may be off. But I believe I paid $69 for those, and they were regularly nearly $200. Anyway, they're a good pair of boots. Of course, I also bought gasoline and groceries and miscellaneous things like that I just can't tell you how much of that came from the Buy Me a Coffee fund and how much didn't, but some of it did. Anyway, that's where we're at. That's what's happened with the Buy Me a Coffee fund. Like I say, I did promise you guys an update, and I'm sorry it took so long to do it. That's partially because I've been busy dealing with drama, lots of drama. And also partially because I was avoiding doing it, to be honest, because I'm just not great with numbers. So, and I'm sorry my accounting can't be more precise than it is with what I'm saying. I bought miscellaneous groceries and gasoline and stuff. I just don't know how much was Buy Me a Coffee and how much was other money. So I don't want to try breaking that down because it would, or I just wouldn't be able to. That's all. Like I say, I'm accountable, but I'm not an accountant. Anyway, that's where we're at. That's where the money has gone. That's it. I have no more to say about it. That's all I can say. Okay, we'll talk to you later. Bye for now.